The most important thing about our design for this tiny house was that it had a downstairs bedroom, no lofts. There's more value in having a downstairs bedroom, especially if you're ever gonna sell your tiny house. This is our kitchen. We wanted it minimal, clean, spacious, plenty of storage without it feeling like it's an all kitchen. One of the things that we knew we had to have with our tiny house was an electric stove. We've had gas propane before. It has its benefits, but this is what we wanted. We knew we wanted the exhaust fan to ensure moisture smells and everything could be removed when we're cooking. We're vegan, gluten-free. It's really important for us to be able to make our meals. So this was a must to have. My most favorite thing about the sink is how deep it is. And we actually have this drying rack out all the time. So we're able to wash dishes and dry them because it's so spacious. Also, this feature makes it really, really easy for us to get around any kind of areas that we need. For food prep, it's actually quite spacious. If you think about your kitchen at home, you're probably using the same amount of space. We knew that since we cook a lot of our meals, we wanted everything pretty close together. We often will clean our fruit, vegetables, let them dry, and then cut them right here. We also have a mat that we can put over the stove to extend some space for food prep. We also have a kettle and an air fryer. Air fryer was really important that its size. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. It just helps for anything that we wanna fry up, toast bread, anything like that. In extending the counter, it gave us more freedom, one, for extra counter space if we needed more prep area, but also space to dine and for Cav to work. An important thing that we knew we needed was a window at the workspace. We're both on video calls. That natural light is perfect and it's really needed. The default design had a window in the kitchen where the sink was. In our old tiny house, we never looked out that window. So we realized that let's place the window where we most need it. So we moved the window to this space. We do have a shed that we're gonna convert into an office space. Once that happens, we're gonna switch this chair out to have 2 bar stools so we can dine here. And you may have noticed that we don't have anything on the walls here. There's no upper cabinets. Reason for that is we wanted it to feel spacious here. There's also the option for us to hang artwork. We thought about putting shelves and doing some exposed plates and glasses. So that might be something we add at some point. We actually have enough storage that we don't have to do it right now, which is wonderful. At some point in time, will we need more? I don't know. Right now, we have all our needs met. We have a full pot set. It's just being smart about where you're placing the items. In a tiny house, space is very limited, we know this. So it's really important to find space wherever you can. This was genius. When we found these, I was just like, oh great, we can get this out of the way, easy to access. So this was brilliant. Having, some jars, we heat a lot of rice. So it was really great to kind of adjust these how we wanted it so that we can fit things like the jars there. We eat a lot of fruit, so having space above the fridge where we can have fruit all ready to go for us was a must. So, not having a fridge that's all the way to the ceiling is great because now you have more storage up here. Then we have this beautiful, very tall pantry. We have our food almost all up here. And then on the other shelves down here, we have our glasses, our plates. So we have about 4 shelves on the bottom and 2 shelves on the top. Having now been in this kitchen for a year, I honestly have nothing I would change. We really thought about it, thought about where we wanted everything placed and just ensuring that it had the storage that we needed so we could keep that simple minimalist look, but also, had the function. Our tiny house is 8.5 by 35. We knew that for the kitchen, we wanted an extended counter all the way to the wall so we could have it as a workspace and also a dining space. That meant that our living room was going to be adjacent from the kitchen. It works out well. It is honestly strange at times because the kitchen is right over here. What I really try to focus on is knowing that we're mostly missing the cooking area, and then it just becomes this nice, beautiful counter space. Generally, when we are sitting in these chairs, we're watching something or we're engaging with each other. So we're actually not really even looking at the kitchen so much. Eventually, we might do a couch when the right one comes, but these chairs have actually been really good. They're just very functional. For tiny house living, you have to be really smart with where you place things, what type of things you get in order for the space to actually function well. This coffee table was perfect. Not only can you go on the side of the chair like this, we can also flip it around so that it can sit between us. So that was a must when we found that. It's perfect, it's easy, it can be packed away. The other feature that we needed is, as you know, our chairs are facing the kitchen. We got a new arm for the TV so that the TV was not stationary here, but we were able to extend it like this. And now we both can see the TV very, very easily. It works out well. Another thing that is really supportive in tiny houses is just putting things away. So what we do often to open the space up is we have 2 stools that match these chairs. So we make sure that they're under the counter, which actually doubles as a footrest for Cav when he's working. And then when we want to get really cozy, we bring them out for the chairs and just kind of chill and relax, and these chairs extend so they can adjust back further. So it just makes it versatile, easy for us to kind of get that relaxing vibe. And we knew we wanted lots of light, so we have 2 more windows here to just make it feel open, spacious, bright, sunny. All of that feels really, really important, having a non-loft tiny house.
So this build cost us about $55,000. We were fortunate enough to be able to purchase it in cash, no mortgage. Where we live here, we pay $800 a month, which includes utilities, garbage, recycling. We also spent about $10,000 on delivery, leveling, anchoring, skirting, gutters, the front porch, the shed in the back. So in total, about $65,000 split between 2. So a pretty good deal, I would say. Finding communities is really just internet searches. And I was actually shocked when Jeanette found this particular community, because I thought I had heard of every tiny house community across the country. I had spreadsheets just full of communities, but Jeanette stumbled upon this one through Facebook Marketplace. One of the homes here was for sale and she saw it and she was like, Cav, did you know there's a tiny house community, right near where her house was? I was like, there's no way. And so the next time we were in Florida, we came for a visit and we just drove through and, immediately resonated with it. There was this sign that we drove by per chance that had my name on it. It was just kind of like, we felt like this was the place for us. So we immediately secured a spot. We were paying on the lot before we, had the house. But then once the house was built, we were able to, set it up, and we've been living here for a year now. I spent my 20s in New York City, living in a shared space, paying $1,200 a month. I just felt complete with that situation, and I moved in with my dad in Connecticut, which I thought was gonna be for just a couple months through the holiday season, and then the pandemic hit. Tiny homes always resonated with me. I just never knew when they would come into my life, but that felt like the right time. I ended up spending a year there while I was waiting for my tiny home to be built. And then I lived in that tiny house for 3 years, but that last year that I lived in that home, that's when I met Jeanette, and that changed the dynamic of the living situation.
I came across tiny house living around 2016, 2017. It was kind of just, a dream, just a thought in the back of my head. And I met Cav through work. We both work remotely, and I learned that he lived tiny, and it just lit me up. It was like, oh, you're living tiny. And that's been something that I have felt like a call to for many, many years. So I was able to start to dip my toe into the tiny life living through going to visit Cav and staying with him. I eventually moved in, and it proposed a bit of challenge when it came to work. So living space was fine, but we are both on video calls, so we needed a sound barrier, space to have privacy with the work that we do.
So we decided we needed to sell my old tiny home. It took us 8 months in order to do that. And during that time, we learned so much about what we felt that we needed in our next tiny home, with our priorities being having those, 2 dedicated workspaces with, proper sound barrier, but also resale value.
I was just browsing Facebook Marketplace and was looking through different tiny houses, and I came across a tiny house with a downstairs bedroom, knowing that that is something that has amazing resale value, and it was just a better fit for our work lifestyle. Before we head to the bathroom, I want to show you 2 of my favorite spots in the tiny house, actually. We have our spot for all our coats, our hats. Me and Kev love to wear hats and display them. We also have a picture of our previous tiny house here as a way to just kind of remember it. And then my next favorite thing is, oh my goodness, if you have watched a tiny house video or visited one, been in one, owned one, the washer dryer combo is a bit of a nightmare. And we were 100% sure we did not want to go with that. We wanted a different solution. The builder did not provide the washer dryer, so we were able to choose one and work with them on sizing and everything like that. We found this wonderful mini stack tower washer dryer that is amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. And it's not a combo, so it works really well. So when it comes to the bathroom, we knew that we wanted the bathroom to separate our living space from the bedroom. And the reason for that is both me and Cav work on video calls. We needed sound barrier. So we had the builder move the bathroom to the center here. It works perfectly, even with one door shut. We can't hear each other, which is amazing. We knew that we wanted a mirror that had a light. We don't have any windows in this space, so having enough light was really important. We have a fan running here, but we also have a dehumidifier to make sure any moisture that's in the air is being taken out. So this is our shower. We actually have it so that we have both an overhead and a bar to shower with. Very easy to clean shower. The builder gave us a couple options. This one was the one that looked the cleanest, brightest, so we went with this option. When we were working with our builder, we knew that we needed storage in the bathroom that we didn't have. So we actually took out a foot of the bathroom shower to give way to the storage for the bathroom. So we store all our towels, toilet paper, hamper, laundry, everything like that in this space. We also use the storage underneath the sink for all our medicine, makeup, all of that kind of stuff is all in here. And then we have a flushing toilet coming from a previous tiny house that had a composting toilet. It's doable, there's nothing wrong with it. We knew at some point if we wanted to sell our tiny house, we would need a flushing toilet. It's better for resale value. And also it's just easier to deal with. I think the biggest question I get when it comes to me and Cav living in this tiny house is like, how can 2 people live there and have enough room for all their clothes? So bedroom storage is actually working out really, really well. We have a wardrobe that we split that has both stuff for us to hang. We have storage above it and some kind of fabric boxes for overflow. And then we also got these fabric boxes to be able to store kind of anything we can fold clothes-wise. The biggest thing is storage under the bed. So this bed came from the builder. It lifts up. It is so spacious with storage. So we have our suitcases down there. I have some craft items. We have some tech items. And then what we do is we have some big fabric boxes that we store off-season clothes. So we rotate often. The other big thing to do is we purge often too. So if we realize we're not wearing something, it goes straight to donation or we sell things. Also, this is my workspace. So when coming to the space, we knew it was very limited. This desk is wonderful. It's very narrow. It also can be unscrewed and folded down if needed. I actually end up often moving this desk in front of the window so I have that natural light for my video calls, and I just move it back when I'm done with it. Even if it is sitting here, there's plenty of space to walk from the bed to the rest of the house. When we finally make the shed office, it's going to be a space for us to create content, for us to work, just another space to go and be with yourself. So it gives us some options as well. You know, if Cav isn't working and I want to go work in there, it gives space to keep the home homey and not feeling like work. Probably the most important thing about our design for this tiny house was that it had a downstairs bedroom, no lofts. Love lofts, they're great, but they don't really work in the long term, especially if you're ever gonna sell your tiny house. There's more value in having a downstairs bedroom. It opens up the option for more people. So if there is somebody who has kind of, any kind of thing they're struggling with, walking up the stairs or climbing up a ladder can be very hard. So it just opens the pool for more people to want to purchase your home. If you may not live tiny for the rest of your life or may not live tiny in the same tiny house like we did when we decided to sell our tiny house previously.
I think living tiny with a partner is actually one of the most liberating things I've ever done, because not needing that barrier of space and just being fully immersed, within 400 square feet. And when you're with the right person, like, that feels good.
If you look at the tiny house living as an opportunity to know yourself more deeply and to transform, I think that you can welcome any of the feelings of uncertainty or fear that come up as an opportunity to release what's not serving you, and also call in who you are and get a little clearer about all of that. I think so many people have a fear of what they're going to be losing instead of seeing what they're gaining, and just really let go of what you're carrying, both in items and also maybe even emotionally.
And I think a lot of the fear is also just about doing something different. The tiny house movement, it's still very much a movement. It's still new, and I think people aren't always available to try something that is different than the traditional path. Thanks for watching our video. Jeanette and I are professional space holders, and if you'd like to learn about what we do, you can find the links to that in the description of the video.